I don't think I've ever seen her rest. And she has fun doing it. And also something about Shanti, I could easily see her being a CEO or a politician or the head of Greenpeace or whatever she wants to be. You could be the president of a new country if you wanted to be. But she could also just be a very humble but very sincere person in the world who, like we mentioned before, just uplifts people with her presence of being. But there's something very special about Shanti energetically. And being around her is an experience that exalts the soul. And I say this with all sincerity. Her dedication to yoga and meditation, her dedication to spiritual principles. She had a crisis last year when she had to figure out who her guru was. She is a pure soul, but she's a warrior soul. And through that warrior spirit, she'll be a shining beacon of hope and inspiration for everybody she meets. And I would truly believe that Shanti and people like her will represent eventually a new wave of higher consciousness on this earth that will in some ways leave the rest of us in the dust, but also for us will show the way. And I don't say this to boost your ego, and I don't say this to make you feel good about yourself even. I say this in all honesty that you have a great mission ahead of you, and I know you will succeed. So thank you, Shanti.
Thank you, Comrade. Hey everyone, thank you for coming. My speech is a little longer than the others, but bear with me. On my 133rd day of school this year, at about the time when most seniors are relishing in their abundance of free time, a few friends, teachers, and I were in India, and we were speeding along in an auto rickshaw, watching the streets full of beggars, shopkeepers, musicians, dancers, women, children, and monkeys. And on the 142nd day, we were up in the mountains, meditating in the cave of Mahavatar Babaji, and listening to this thunderstorm outside. On the 147th day, we were in a room full of children from the Shudra and Untouchable class, and as they danced for us and performed for us with the most radiating smiles. These are the experiences that are possible at this school. I have been here for 11 years, all of which have been exceptional, full of life-changing moments, and completely unique from one another. When something goes on for this long and is the center of your life, the concept of an end can seem unfathomable. And so as this day grew closer and closer, it felt more and more like a dream. And even now, some small part of me wonders if this is reality. But in case it is not a dream, I will tell you a little bit about my experience here and refrain from flying and other wonders of dreaming. First of all, I just want to say how challenging this speech was to write, because the list of positive memories could fill an entire book, maybe multiple volumes. But out of that book, I just wanted to share a couple. I was blessed to have Narani for a teacher for 3 years. And out of all the creative genius activities that we did, I think my favorite was learning to spell while writing in shaving cream on our desks. Then the next 2 years, I had Balaram as a teacher, which was so much fun. And I remember one year we went to Yosemite and climbed Half Dome. And I remember this group of 7- and 8-year-olds holding onto these cables as we were climbing up the side and having strangers pass us on their way down and stop and gape and just blink their eyes and ask us how old we were, and then keep repeating the question, "You guys are a school? This is school for you? What?" And you know, we smiled and said, "Yeah, this is school," and without thinking much about it. But it's just remarkable. Then I had Kathy for a teacher, which I was so honored to be a student of, for 3 years, along with Bajrang for a teacher for one of those years, and John Orlowski is a second teacher for one of the years. And I think my highlight during that time was walking across the Golden Gate Bridge with our class. We only had 4 students that year, and the rain was pouring so hard that it was like a shower, and I remember our cheeks hurting because we were laughing so hard. I feel like this progression of teachers and experiences is very natural and supportive while growing up, and even though some teachers are different now and new, I still see this, and I think it's remarkable. We all know this is an extraordinary school. We participate in it, we contribute to it, and we believe in its principles. So what is it that makes this school so extraordinary? Is it the fact that we start each day with yoga and meditation? We learn the arts, practice sports, learn to think creatively and critically. We have individualized learning, and we travel the world every year serving others? Yes. But that's only the result of having this underlying principle, this underlying high vibration and level of consciousness that is the core of this school. Because the teachers walk their talk, they live with high ideals, have integrity, dharma, and enthusiasm. We as students, parents, and new teachers are inspired by this power and inspired to raise ourselves up in accordance with it. And it's not always easy, and some students leave the school because personal growth is intense. But for those who stay here, it can be an incredible fast track towards self-discovery and maturity. Throughout my schooling, I took 3 years to experience what other schools were like. Mainly because although I still loved the school, it had become very familiar, and I felt like I wasn't able to appreciate all it had to offer. And so I took 2.5 years at an art school in Nevada City where I was able to dive into the arts, have new experiences, and meet new people, which I loved. I also took some time at the public high school in Grass Valley, which was also a good experience. And from these two, first I was able to gain perspective and also realize that 2 big things were missing for me that were not at those schools. And that was the aspect of self-discovery and spirituality. I spend a lot of time observing and thinking, and for the past many years, but especially the past 4, I have watched all my friends grow into the most remarkable people. And I'm someone who lives off of inspiration, and every single day these people inspire me. My character award of hope this year I interpret to mean my great excitement and optimistic view of the future, the work that is being done here and at Education for Life and Ananda and all the peace-oriented organizations in the world just gives me hope for the future and for the shift into a more conscious age. Another way I interpret hope is described by a quote by Yogananda that says, "Live quietly in the moment and see the beauty of all before you. The future will take care of itself." There's a lot of societal pressure for seniors and just people in high school to have their lives figured out by the time they graduate, which I find completely irrational. It's great if you do, but that expectation. And it causes a huge amount of stress that has been accepted to go hand in hand with graduation. And for me, I've been swept up into this a couple of times, but one day I decided that I would live with hope and with faith and do my best in the moment, but then surrender, because that's all we can do. For me personally, my growth during my high school years has been trying to progress from being shy and having a lot of self-doubt to being able to stand up and speak up for myself and others, reawaken that inner child that can get lost during added responsibility and stress, and also feel comfortable in my own skin. My progress so far has been would not be possible without the support of the teachers here. They are always noticing us, our words, our actions, our choices, our thoughts, probably not the thoughts, but and in their own subtle ways, and sometimes not so subtle, they challenge us to overcome the things that limit us. And they really hold that as an expectation for every one of us. A few years ago, Cameron mentioned this story a little bit, but after an instance where I was incapable of yelling and being loud, Cameron came up to me and was like, "How can I help you with this?" And I jokingly responded that he could pay me $100 for 20 minutes of yelling. And then the next day, Cameron said he had done some calculations and found out that if he could pay me $5 for 1 minute of yelling. And I was like, oh, $5. But then I thought about it, and I thought it'd be good for me. And so that day at lunch, a group of us went to the community center and where I was to yell for a minute. And I did it. And it was very satisfying, for one, but also transformative. And things along the line of this happen every day to everyone at the school. Not always this big and not involving money, but they happen, and moments of transformation. Graduating here is, for me, an epitome of a bittersweet moment. I am very sad to leave this close-knit group that I've gotten to know throughout these years, and I'm sure I will continue to know. But also, I'm very excited to begin the next journey of my life, the next part of my life, in which I'll be traveling for a year with a group through a gap year program. And after that, I don't know yet what I'll be doing, but I would love to be a part of the work that EFL is doing, so we'll see. So with absolute sincerity, thank you to all of you, and especially to my parents, my friends, my sister, and all my teachers, Kamran, Brian, Hridaya, Irene, Kathy, Balarama, Narani, Bajrang, and everyone else, for guiding me, challenging me, and constantly inspiring me, and for the truly life-changing work that you all are doing here. Thank you. It's been an honor to be here and to grow up in such an amazing place and to know all of you. Thank you.